Hey, 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 what's up, everyone? This is LaDondra with LaDondraHervey.com, and I am super excited because we have a special guest joining us today, Danielle Fisher, who is going to be empowering us with some tips to effectively reclaim our time and energy by delegating. And, as entrepreneurs, Christian women entrepreneurs, that we are, like, we have a lot. We have a lot on our plates. Many of us are mothers, many of us are business owners, wives, and we have family members, and we have all the things. And so it can be really easy for us to find ourselves in this place where we're like floundering around and not making the progress that we want to make in our business. Well, today we're going to solve for that with our special guest expert, Danielle Fisher, who is a business operations strategist and certified online business manager. And for Danielle's bio, she said when she isn't spending time with her husband and two daughters, ages 11 and 8, she can be found deeply engrossed in decor DIY projects. Danielle, I need you in my life right now. Or enjoying a pumpkin spice latte while curled up in her sunroom or porch swing that she built herself, of course, and her two cats. After over 10 years in the federal financial aid industry, Danielle started her business as a way to gain more freedom and flexibility over her schedule to better serve her family. Y'all, how many of us need that in our life? We need more freedom and flexibility over our schedule. And that's why this conversation is going to be so important. And like she said here, it says it was in her online space that she discovered online business management and operation and quickly became a strategic partner to her clients, helping them to build and manage the right teams and systems to support their business goal. So right now, Danielle is on a mission to help more women business owners get back to loving their business again. She does this by helping them to simplify, streamline, and systemize their business operations so they can stay in their zone of genius and focus on the parts of the business that they love. I just love that, the parts of the business that they love. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely, Danielle. So, listen, this is a big topic, and I'm wondering, like, you saying reclaim your time and energy by delegating effectively. Tell me, like, what does that mean to you, and why did you, like, you told us a little bit about your why in that bio, but like, why did you feel that it was a need to come out in the marketplace to talk about a topic such as this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, as I started my business and started talking with more business owners, especially women, like you said, I think we tend to become everything for everybody else, right? And then we tend to come last. And so, what I've seen happen, it happened to me, it's happened to all of my clients. We start our businesses for a specific reason. And for me, and I think for a lot of us, it is to have that time freedom, that flexibility over our schedules and have more time for our families. And what happens as we grow as is we reach a certain point where we've now lost that freedom and that flexibility because maybe we're a solopreneur and our time is now maxed out and we're doing work for our clients, and our clients kind of become another thing that sort of takes over or comes first, right?
Mhm.
Another thing that we are the caretaker of. And so I see this as really a problem because like I said, it happened for me. It happens for my clients. We reach this point where you start to feel like, what am I even doing this for? Like I started this business to have freedom and flexibility, and now I've lost that again. So
Mhm.
that's really where this came out of, and why I started talking about this is it's not just delegating, it's delegating effectively, because there are right and wrong ways to do it. And I really think it's important. It's an important piece of us being able to focus on what we're good at and what energizes us.
Yeah.
And I think it's the best thing that we can do for ourselves and our business. So that's really where this came out of.
No, and I agree because like you say, we get into the business with the hope, like you said, to get that time freedom, but then we find ourselves like in this place where we're stuck and we're serving everyone and we're like last place, and then we're figuring out like I don't know if I like doing what I'm doing anymore because it's like taking all my time, all my energy, all my creativity, all my everything. And so it's wonderful that your service is focused on helping us get back into our zone of genius. For those of us who don't really understand what it means to what a business operation strategist does, can you just give us like a brief overview of what that will look like?
Business as a virtual assistant, and then very quickly, I was so much more than that, probably from the get-go. And I became a strategic partner to my clients, really understanding their business better than anybody else, and sometimes better than they themselves. And so I saw the need for, as I transitioned into online business manager, I saw the need for in the online space for people who maybe weren't ready to hire a full online business manager yet, but still need to get systems and processes in place and hire a team to support the vision of the business. So that's really where I stepped up and like I said, started to kind of fill this need by serving those who weren't quite ready to hire a full online business manager.
No, I love that because as solopreneurs, some of us are solopreneurs, some have a team, some have, the contract work. There's like VAs who can come in and they come out just doing some specific job. But it's so important to have those systems and processes in place to have a sustainable business. Can you give us an example of some of those systems and processes that what would be one of the main systems or processes that we would need to have in place to run our business or to set our business up for success?
Yeah. So, I mean, it really depends, I want to say. But some of the common ones are, so, you have Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So have you heard of Fix This Next?
No. You
Yes.
said
So
next?
Fix This Next. It is a
Uh-huh.
book.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think of the author. He's written, I think he wrote Traction. Is it Gene? Shoot, it's escaping me.
If he wrote Traction, yeah.
I think it was him. I'll correct that in the comments if it's not, because the name is escaping me. So you have the business hierarchy of needs. And the very first thing is sales. If you don't have a good sales system, a repeatable sales system that's getting you consistent leads and consistent conversions, then you need to get something in place. So that's the first thing. After that, it becomes product delivery. Okay, how are you delivering the product to your clients? And sometimes we flip-flop that. I think especially in the beginning, when we're first starting our business, we're focused completely on the product. How can I serve my clients? How can I deliver for them? So that would be another example. So sales systems, onboarding system, which goes along with the product delivery, is where are those things that you're doing over and over again in your business that maybe you find yourself like it's taking a lot of time because you're kind of starting over every time.
Yeah.
And so what are those things? When you identify them, slow down and take the time to put a process in place. One that's easy to follow, repeatable. It has all the notes that you need all in one spot. Using a project management tool can help. I have recurring tasks on my project management tool, and I put, if there's anything that I'm having a hard time remembering, or for example, like my quarterly taxes is a perfect example. You only do that once every 3 months. So I put in the notes, what percentage am I calculating? where do I go to pay them? So I've got the links to the IRS. I've got to the exact spot, not just irs.gov, but the exact spot of where I go to pay that. Same with the state of Wisconsin where I'm at. So what are all of those things that you need to get that task done and have it right there so that you don't have to be reinventing the wheel every time you go to do this?
Oh, you just covered some juicy stuff there. Like, really, these are some of the things that like we're always teaching in our next level program, because it's like you can't, like, there's things that you can't do without you cannot expect to go to the next level if you don't have, like you said, that repeatable system in place, like the way you generate sales on repeat, and then that onboarding system, and then you also mentioned the product delivery. So it's like if you have these things in place, it's like you having a solid foundation to build, sustain, grow, scale your business into the levels that you're wanting it to be. And like you said, so many times business owners, we don't slow down enough because we're in the hustle and the grind of things, that we don't slow down enough to just like pay attention to what's really happening in the business to create those systems. And I had to learn this the hard way, because like I brought on a team, and bringing on a team, I'm used to doing things by myself, and I'm like, oh, like I got it. But then my team is like, okay, we need some systems in place, and I'm like, systems for what? Like, because it was all in my head, and
All in
I
your head.
was
Yeah.
used to doing it and creating my own flow. But what I can tell you is having those systems in place, it alleviates stress, because the example that you gave about like your taxes, it's like the link is there. It's like you know exactly where to go, you know when to go there, you know like what you're going to be doing when you're there. Like all of that is just gold. So one of the things here, Danielle, is how do you determine the tasks that you should be doing in your business or should not be doing in your business? How do you have any advice there in helping business owners? Because if we're taking back our time, how do we know what we should and should not be doing?
Yes. By the way, it's Mike McAllowitz is the author of I Said Traction. He didn't write Traction. He wrote
Okay.
Profit First, Fix This Next.
Yes.
Pumpkin Patch was one of his early ones. So I apologize about that, but that's who it is. Okay. So how do you know what tasks you should and shouldn't be doing in your business? You touched on this in the introduction a little bit when you said the term zone of genius. That is one of my favorite things to talk about. And another book that I love, and that is The Genius Zone by Gay Hendricks. Positive on that author, by the way. And so he talks about, okay, we all have different zones. There are 4 of them. Your zone of incompetence. These are the things that you're really not great at. That, it takes you a long time to do them. You don't love doing them. But as a solopreneur, we end up doing everything. So those are the things that you should definitely delegate, because somebody else can always do it better. Okay, that's your zone of incompetence. Your zone of competence, those are the tasks that you're okay at. Maybe you're even good at them, but you're not great at them. They don't necessarily come naturally to you. They tend to drain you instead of energize you, but we can do them. And so oftentimes what happens is we just continue to do them because we can. But just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Okay, so that's your zone of competence. Your zone of excellence, these are the things that you are really good at, but you don't necessarily love them. Maybe they don't drain you, but they also don't fill you up. They don't energize you. So, we tend to hold on to those things longer because, again, we can do them. It's easy for us. These might even be things that people say, you're really good at that. Like, you should keep doing that. And that's kind of what happened to me as an online business manager. Is my clients would say, like, you're really good at these things, but I still felt like I don't want more of this. Like, there's something's missing, something's still not right. which then brings me to your zone of genius. And that is really your innate, your God-given gifts, the things that you do so naturally that you might not even realize that you do it. And you, in fact, have to, once you realize you're doing it, sometimes you have to stop yourself from doing it. And so to help my clients kind of tap into like, what is this exactly? Because it's not always obvious. One of the things I say is, what's one of your greatest weaknesses? Okay. Because that also could be your greatest strength, but it's misdirected. You're not using it you go there naturally because it's your innate talent, but you're not using it in a productive way, in a way that's serving you. That is your zone of genius. The things that you do so naturally, when used appropriately, they fill you up. They energize you. You are on fire. You feel awesome after you've just gotten done doing those things. So ideally, as you are looking to hire out your team, you're delegating things to people, ideally, the only tasks you keep are mostly in your zone of genius and maybe some from your zone of excellence. Anything else in your zone of competence, and for sure in your zone of incompetence, you delegate that out.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so juicy. And I love that you gave these examples in the 4 levels from the book. So y'all, that one, like she said, is Gay Hendricks and your zone of genius, right? It's
the genius zone. Mm-hmm.
The genius zone. Okay. Yep. And so, for me, like, I can totally relate to that, because incompetence, don't worry about tech. I'm not about to be messing with my website. And I think that, a lot of times as business owners, we get caught up on trying to do what we feel like we should be doing, and it becomes a waste of time that's not moving the needle in our business productively, and we're actually losing money by thinking we're saving money because we're operating out of our zone of incompetence. And so then, even with that competence zone, like you were talking about, you're good at it but it drains you. That's admin. Like, one of my first hires was like admin, because I'm like, I am totally wasting my time. This is draining me. I hate it. And I'm just like, and it was keeping me from being the face of my company that I needed to be, and the leader that I needed to be attracting more clients and more creating more products that would really serve my clients at the level that they were needing it. And so, like, I was holding on to it as long as I could hold on to it. But after that, I realized that I was, like, your title of this is, I was able to reclaim my time back once I made that first hire. So those are really great, and I love how you differentiated and you let us know. Okay, so if it's not your zone of genius or your zone of excellence, preferably your zone of genius, you need to release it. You need to release it. And so the next thing here is, so how do you figure out, Danielle, exactly what to delegate and who to delegate it to?
Yeah. So first I would start with that, your zone of genius, your zone of excellence, hang on to those things, delegate out anything that is not in those 2 areas. So what I like to do with my clients is if they don't know, sometimes they come to me and they're like, I know exactly what I need to get rid of, but sometimes we don't. And especially when we're just so used to doing everything, I call it survival mode. We've gotten to the place where we are just trying to get through every single day, and we're completely overwhelmed that we don't even have time to think about, like, what am I enjoying? And that's what happened to me. To be perfectly honest, that happened to me when I was an OBM and I was working for multiple clients, managing multiple teams, including my own. And yes, there were some things that I liked about it and maybe even loved, but at the time I was working with the mindset coach, I knew I wanted to grow my business, but I didn't know what that looked like. And he asked me, like, what are you enjoying? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I knew there had to be things that I liked doing and I loved my clients, but I was just doing too much. I was doing too many things for too many people. And I really needed to take a step back and reflect on what it was I was enjoying. So if that's the place that they're at when they come to me, which often it is, I will have them do a time audit. And it's a tool. I didn't invent the concept of a time audit, but I have adapted it to fit this model that I'm going to talk about. So what I have them do is basically take inventory of all of the things that they're doing in, let's say, a week or a 2-week period. And what that looks like is every 30 minutes or so, they stop, they write exactly what they were doing, and they also make a 1 or 2 word comment about how they felt afterwards. You were checking emails, you felt drained. You had a client call that went amazing, you felt awesome when you got off that call. Just 1 or 2 word comments. It doesn't take very long, but have it on your desk, keep it there for a whole week. And then at the end of the week, you go back and you look at, okay, where are the themes? What are the things I'm doing that are bringing me joy and energizing me and filling me up? And what are the things I'm doing that are draining me over and over and over again? Okay, so once we have that list, the second thing I have them do is break that list down into 4 categories: do, delay, delegate, and delete. So do, these are the things that need to be done and only you can do them. Eventually, ideally, these should be your zone of genius, zone of excellence items, okay? Delay are the things that maybe these need to be done eventually, but they don't need to be done right now. Okay, I don't need to be focusing my time on this right now. Delegate, those are the things that you're going to hand off to somebody else. And then delete, those are the things that maybe you're doing that aren't bringing any kind of ROI. They're not, you got to be honest with yourself here. Like, do you need to continue doing these things? And if not, we're just going to stop doing it. Okay. So then you want to look at your delegate list and look for any commonalities. So is it a lot of, for example, maybe it's a lot of social media stuff. Maybe you don't like creating content or graphics and posting on social media. Then that's a clue that your next hire should probably be a social media manager. Or maybe, maybe it's a lot of admin stuff. Maybe it's a lot of tech stuff, like you said. Then maybe you should hire a tech VA. We also need to not only think about long-term team members, but maybe it's just a project. Maybe, we talked about the client onboarding system earlier. Maybe it's having somebody come in and set up your Dubsado for you. Or, you know what, I've been DIYing this website for way too long and it looks like garbage. I'm going to actually have somebody who knows what they're doing come in and do this for me and get it done. Check it off the list, get it off the plate. And so you kind of need to be thinking about both sides of it, long-term and maybe also some short-term projects. So that's really it.
What do you mean that's really it? That's really good, huh? Yes, that's really good, y'all. If you are a note taker, I highly recommend that you, one, go back and listen to this, because Danielle just dropped gold. And a lot of times what we do is we think, oh, you're listening, but the Word of God says, don't just be a hearer, but do something with what you're hearing. And so, I want y'all to hear what she's saying and do something with it, because she's literally laid out a framework that you can use to grow your business and to create some sustainability and see where those weak areas where you can fill in some gaps with some systems or with a hire, or being really honest with yourself, like she mentioned, and deleting it. And I love that you talked about on the delete part of it, is that you really be honest with yourself. Is this moving the needle in my business? Is this a income producing activity for me? Or is this a time waster type thing? Because so many times we're doing things that we feel like, just because somebody else is doing it and it's working for their business. We forget that we are individuals and our business is unique to us. And so it may or may not be working for us in this season, or it may have not never worked, but we've just been in a rhythm of repeating the same cycle and expecting a different result over and over. And that's when we have to really go back and assess, like is this really working or is it not? And that's the best thing you can do, is be honest with yourself about that. Doesn't mean you fail. It just means that you're growing as an entrepreneur. It's informing you of something that you need to know to move into your next level. So it was do. Do means you're in your zone of genius. Do this thing. It's delay, like not right now, but it is a priority, but just not right now. And delegate, it's not for you. You're probably in your incompetence or competence zone, and you need to just delegate that out or delete. Those are powerful, y'all. Go back and take notes. Do that time audit. I love, Danielle, that you pulled out the words and see how it makes you feel. Because see, a lot of times we just run right past that, and we have that greedy mentality that's like, I just got to do it. Well, hey, yeah, you did have to do it, maybe in that season, but then maybe it's time for you to grow into your next level. How did that make you feel? Like sales calls, is it making you feel like really yummy, or are you feeling lost, or like what are you feeling? Or once you do those tech things, like she said, like really like just take an inventory of those things. Y'all, that's good. That's some good stuff. I hope y'all go back, re-listen to this, incorporate some of this, connect with Danielle if you're needing her help, because these are things that are like, I'm telling you, it's golden. And I'm just celebrating 7 years, and so I know exactly what she's talking about. Like, it's real. So Danielle, if the we've done that, so we've determined how to determine what tasks we should or should not be doing. We figured out exactly what to delegate and who to delegate it to. So now the question becomes how to delegate effectively. So because you have mentioned that earlier, it's one thing to delegate, but there's a whole nother thing to effectively delegate, to avoid being the bottleneck in your business. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So the first thing is, we've touched on some of these a little bit, but I want to really hammer them home here. The first thing is to set up simple, repeatable processes. Okay. Now, this goes the same whether you're a solopreneur or whether you are starting to build a team. If you are doing custom proposals, you're custom quoting every single client, how do we get that into a repeatable process? Set up packages, and maybe you have some add-ons that they can do in addition to the package, but you still have your main packages. Okay. Just makes it so much easier to get a proposal out there, and to really expedite that quoting and that sales process. So that's one thing, just one example. If you're a solopreneur, and then when you start to get a feel for what you're going to delegate, start making videos of how you do these things. And then along with that, a standard operating procedure or an SOP, that when you hire your first team member or your next team member, they're very clear on what the steps are. Okay. So that's the first one, is simple, repeatable processes. Second one is, don't just delegate the task. You need to delegate the responsibility. This is possibly the number one mistake that I see business owners making, is if you're just handing somebody the task, but you're not giving them the ability or the permission to make a decision about that task, you will remain the bottleneck because they have to keep coming back to you for the decision. And so the way that you do that, and I know that we're going to feel some resistance around this, because when you're so used to being the one to be doing it all, it feels strange to not be doing it all. So this is hard. It's going to take some work. But What you need to do instead is put some parameters around the decision. So, for example, if it's like a refund policy, let's say, okay, well, these are the reasons, the 3 or 4 reasons we might offer a refund. It also has to be within 30 days. And if it's up to a certain amount, let's say $1,000, the team has permission to go ahead and make and process that refund, make the decision on that and process it if it fits all of those things. If it goes outside those parameters, they need to come back to you for a decision. Okay. And this is all, it's going to change and evolve over time. It's all testing and tweaking. And then the third thing is resist the urge to jump back in and do the task for your team. If they come to you with questions, they're going to happen. Let them finish the job. Coach them on how to do it right. If they do it and it doesn't meet your expectations, have a conversation about it sooner rather than later. Okay. The faster we get ahead of these things, the less of a chance they have of becoming larger problems. And remember that saying, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. That's what you're doing. It's an investment. You're investing your time and your energy now to teach them how to do it right. So that's what's going to serve you in the long term.
That's so good. That's so good. Go ahead.
And lastly, the final thought I want to leave you all with is just be patient with them, with yourself. Give yourself grace, give your team grace, because it's a process and it's an evolution.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Danielle. This has been just a rich interview. Before I even say anything else, if someone wants to connect with you, like they realize that, hey, I need to get some repeatable processes in place, or reclaim some of my time back, how can they find you?
Yeah, so I do have my time audit tool ready for you guys. I don't have it on a pretty landing page, so we are just going to do this simply. And that is, if you are interested in that, you can go ahead and comment in the thread right below the video or direct message me, and I will get that to you. You can also join my Facebook group, Simply Scaling. And this is what we talk about, all about not only delegating, but putting the right systems in place, all things business operations with a focus on keeping things simple. That is, on Facebook.
So you guys, you can just put a comment below in the thread and just say time audit, and she'll know exactly what you're talking about, and she can get that to you. What I love about that, Danielle, is that you took imperfect action, and this is what we empower our clients to do all the time. Like, don't make an excuse about this. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be all these things, because the information is there, and the information is what's going to cause the transformation. And so I love that you've taken this time, and we appreciate that you've taken this time to help us to reclaim back our time and create freedom in our business and do it effectively. And I would say that these tips truly have been golden. And you guys, if you, I don't have very many guest experts come in the group, because I want to make sure that we are being a good steward and shepherding the group very well. And I just had this feeling. I was on a call, and I just felt this little nudge, like, reach out to Danielle. And we didn't know each other prior to, and we had a coffee chat. And y'all, the information, this just confirms why that was the right decision, because this information is golden. So go back and re-listen to this, apply it. And then if you're needing that additional help, get that time audit. Go ahead and, what do you have to lose? Get the time audit, and then do it and see how you feel, and see what you need to delegate, delegate, delete, or delay. See, I almost had them all. And so, y'all, this has been great. Danielle, thank you for coming in and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom with us. And her final words of encouragement was to have grace. Have grace with yourself as you go through this process, and know that you're on an ever ever-evolving journey as you continue to grow and scale your business. We hope that y'all have a blessed day. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.